Welcome back, fellow travelers. I want to talk to you today about how to secure your seat in the event of an oversell to ensure that you don't get bumped from the aircraft because of, too many people showing up at the aircraft. One thing that is important to mention, though, is the fact that oversells aren't the only way of getting bumped off the flight. So you could get bumped off because of a few different reasons, mainly being that the downgrade of an aircraft forces there to be a certain percentage of the people to miss their flight because the anticipated load is not as much as the seat capacity of the aircraft. The other thing is for either mechanical reasons or medical reasons where your seat is needed to be vacant, or they just need to fly with half the passengers on the flight. So those are two areas where even though you paid for a seat, you're not going to get saved. You might still be bumped. But those instances are far and few in between. In my whole time working for an airline, it might have happened like twice. That's it. So again, very rare circumstances. Far more often than not are oversells. So enough talking about all the other stuff. How do you protect yourself against oversells? Oversells are protected against by really just reserving your seat ahead of time. So the $15 to $25 it costs you to reserve a seat allows you to say, okay, I'm paying for this seat. This seat is mine, right? They can still bump you. They can still move you to different areas of the aircraft, but you've paid more money than somebody who does not reserve their seat. So those people who haven't reserved their seat will get to the airport in the event of an oversell, and they'll be automatically put on the standby list. Because you've selected your seat ahead of time, you're bypassing that whole process. And by bypassing the whole process, you can volunteer your seat if you'd like. You have that option. But the ball is in your court. And that allows you to really dictate what is going on with your presence on the aircraft. Now, again, if there's a downgrade of the aircraft at the last minute and you selected a seat, you may still be bumped. But the other layer of precaution is to really buy the next higher fare. So if there's like a $10 difference in fares, which I have seen, generally lately it's more of a $25 to $50 range, depending on how full the aircraft is at the time that you're booking. But what happens is that the people who would lose their seats first in the event of a downgrade would be the ones who purchased the lowest fare. So makes sense, right? The more money you spend, the more secure your spot is on the aircraft. And obviously this is all a moot point. If the flight is not oversold and there's no standby list, you're good to go regardless. So that's kind of the gamble you take. But if you're flying high seas and you're flying to like Europe, let's say, or you're flying within North America, odds are there will be an oversell. So I would say anticipate that. Pay the additional, what I would look at is just a fee to make sure you get on the flight. And you're avoiding a lot of headaches. You're avoiding the fact that you could, miss a day of your vacation. One of your hotel stays could, just run out, and that's like you're paying $89 for a hotel. Well, it's more than the $15 to $25 it would have cost you for the seat selection. Now there are some airlines that don't offer pre-seat selection, so my tip there for you is to really just get to the aircraft and the gate earlier, check in early. A lot of the times they go these places that don't allow for pre-selections, they operate in a way that the first to check in gets the seat. So just check in early. And a lot of the times these airlines don't have online check-ins anyways, so you have to get to the airport early enough. Generally speaking, though, those airlines, they're very rare these days because airlines like to extract those extra dollars through what I like to call microtransactions, just by getting you to pay for a few little things here or there. One of them being seat selection. In the grand scheme of things, yeah, $25 is a lot, but when you're spending thousands of dollars flying, it's not that huge of a deal. And really, I've seen very few instances of people getting their seats taken away in favor of something else. So there you have it. It's really simple. It's a thing that, yeah, you're paying extra money to get your seat, and your seat can be moved, but you're paying more than the next person, so you are securing your spot on the airplane. It's always good when you do this to call the airline, a day before or 2 days before your flight, just to ensure that your flight schedule has remained the same, that there are no changes to the aircraft. If sometimes there's an aircraft type change. So as an example, if there's the airline has a 777 aircraft, and let's say they have a second version of a 777 aircraft, but it happen to have like an extra configuration. So maybe the business class has 2 and 2 as opposed to 2, 1 and 2, but the economy stays the same. That could cause some errors in the system where your seat isn't properly batched through, even though you're in economy. So it's always good to just double check, especially if you've booked your seat ahead of time. You don't want to get to the aircraft at the time of boarding to realize that, hey, they're giving you a different seat, or even quite possibly worse, you're now on standby because there's a system glitch. So it's all about doing your due diligence, and then from there, making sure that you still have what you paid for. So that's it. I would love to hear any stories that you might have about getting bumped off an aircraft, or if you just made it through the skin of your teeth, let me know in the comments below. Also, if you have any other tips about making sure that you get on a flight during an oversell, let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear it, and I'd love to share it with the rest of the community. If you'd like to check out some of my other videos, you can do that right over there. And if you'd like to subscribe, you can do that right there. It really helps the channel out, but it also lets you know when we upload new content. I'd like to thank you for making me a part of your day, and until next time, safe travels.